Hey sis, how are you today? I just want to welcome you to another episode of Well Wealthy Women. This is our first Storytime Special. And so, on the fifth Wednesday of the month, we don't have one of our regular shows because we've got 1 through 4, our health is wealth, our Money Talks, our Love is Money, and then our Net Worth Network. But when there's a fifth Wednesday in the month, we have a special story time. And today we've got Alisha Smalls, who's going to join us and share with us her amazing story of resilience and strength, how she's been able to overcome the challenges and what she does now in order to maintain her balance. She's an empowerment coach. And let me just tell you a little bit about this lady. She is absolutely fabulous. She's a mom, obviously a business owner, and she has the pleasure of speaking with everyone that she has an opportunity to share her story of how she overcame the challenge. And so Alisha is also a wife, a coach, and a speaker in Brooklyn, New York. And she's a Brooklyn, New York native. Now she is the CEO and founder of Keys Closet, Dreamer Transportation Services, and yep, that's right, 3 businesses, the Living Fulfilled Company. So while investing in her own personal development, Alisha became a mental advocate and women's empowerment coach. This passion birthed the Living Fulfilled Company at the end of 2019, which was perfect timing because we definitely need that coming through COVID and with our new normal and the transformation and transitions that we have experienced over the last few months, even the last year. So the Living Fulfilled Company provides personal development coaching and resources to women all over the world. So she's international. And Alisha's mission is to transform the lives of women by shifting their mindset, which y'all know we focus on first and foremost, mindset and then money management. So what she's able to do is to support women in finding their purpose and to live fulfilled in all areas of their life. And so in addition to entrepreneurship, Alisha supports several nonprofit organizations, and she's going to tell us about that as well in just a moment. So let us welcome Alisha Smalls to the show.
Hello.
Hey, Alisha. Thank you so much for coming to join me today. How are you today?
I'm doing really, really, really well. I'm well rested. I'm
Absolutely.
overjoyed to be here. From when I met you, I love to tell a story, especially my story. So I'm just happy to be here with you guys, and thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for joining us today. And our live cast is a little early because I have an engagement afterwards with some mentorship groups. And so Alisha was gracious enough to come on a little early today. And thank you so much for that. But we want to talk about your story. So how did you get started as an entrepreneur? What, caused you to shift over and make the transition?
I took my first leap of faith back in, I want to say, 2016, actually going full-fledged and leaving my 9 to 5, which was with the New York City Department of Education. And I just left. I had dipped my toe a little bit in the entrepreneur field. I sold hair before. I had like my 9 to 5, and then I had my side hustle where I sold hair. But as you stated before, mindset, I really wasn't all in. So I found an excuse to leave that to the side, even though it was actually doing well. I had just had my second child, my daughter Logan, and because I didn't invest in my personal development the way I should have at that time to equip myself with the skills, it was a lot for me. Prior to that, I tried to start what I started in 2016, which was a private van transportation service for children. And I started it on a smaller scale, which was a carpooling service. But again, the repeated theme throughout the interview, mindset. I wasn't there. I didn't have the tools. So I had dipped my toe a little bit in a few years before, but when I actually just got fed up, tired of the 9 to 5 and not having control over my own destiny, I I left. I make a really long story very short. It was a Friday, I remember, and I think I wanted to leave early for something. I don't know, but I had the time. I worked, and basically, I was told that if I didn't come back with the note, that on Monday, they could possibly start the proceedings to have me fired, right? And so I was furious. I was, and I'm thinking the whole weekend, and I'm just like, I've never been in a position to where I felt so vulnerable, and that, wow, if I don't bring in a note over time that I already have, the future of my life and my children's life could be changed just like that.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to be in that position anymore. So Monday I did come to work, but it was with a resignation letter and my key card, and I turned it in, and I never looked back.
Wow, that was a bold move, girl.
It was a bold move.
Move.
I definitely, if I knew everything then that I know now, I would have definitely had a more solid plan. I would have used that fire, right? Mm-hmm. And I would have waited at least 6 months. It all worked out, but calculated risks. Now I know about calculated risks, but that's my story.
Absolutely. So, I want our ladies to hear that, the calculated risk is sometimes we get so emotional and we get overwhelmed. We just kind of roll with it. And then we be like, oh, wait a minute, what'd I do? Looking back, but we have to take a moment to pause. It's so important for us to really contemplate and consider, okay, what are the consequences of this decision? How is it going to play out down the road? How can I benefit? What will be the challenges? How can I put myself in the best position to succeed? So you have succeeded despite the odds, despite the challenge, despite making such a bold move on the spur of the moment. So what was it that helped you to get through that period of time? And what advice would you give to these ladies about doing something differently from your experience?
I would definitely say, while you have the opportunity, I think that a lot of budding entrepreneurs, mompreneurs, whatever your title may be, if you currently have a 9-to-5 or whatever your situation may be, I think that one of the advantages that a lot of women have that I didn't know that I had at that point was to invest in my personal development. We have, we're in the information age. And one of the things, I know the interview is about me, but I just want to shift a little bit to you. One of the things that I love about you, Kivette, is that you said mindset first, right? And then we talk about money management, because where does true wealth, where's the foundation of true wealth, right? It starts with the mind, right? Equipping ourselves with the tools to be able to pull in the resources to have that freedom, right? And I remember something that you said to me on Clubhouse, and you said it is because we acknowledge and we manage our mental health. It makes us who we are, right? And we have so many. And not to say anything about anyone, because definitely we're in the information age, and anywhere that you can go and get information. I'm big on education, even though I didn't like school, right? I like to learn, but I didn't like school, and I didn't know that at the time. But we miss some information, and that is your personal development. Who you are as a person is going to determine who you are in all other areas of your life. If you don't address mental illness, if you don't address unresolved trauma, if you don't address the feeling of unworthiness or not being able to control your emotions, right? We talk about me being, and it was a lot of pride, right? Because the manager who told me that was my age, so I was kind of like, she's not, it was pride, right? And that had me make a decision. It was hard for me. I'm not going to sit up here and say it's easy. I'm very transparent. We struggled. We made it, but we struggled. But had I invested in my personal development, had I had those tools, I would have said, okay. I would have took that. I said, okay, no problem. I have to take that. But here's the 6-month plan. I'm going to save this amount, right? I'm going to get my credit together. I'm going to do the proper research, and then I'm going to make the proper exit. And a lot of the times while we're getting all of this information and these how-tos, and this is what need to do to start a business, or this is what you need to do to lose weight, or whatever it is, we miss one step. And
Yeah.
to lay the foundation. So I would say to any budding entrepreneur, mompreneur, if you are in a 9 to 5 and you felt like I felt, take this time. Do your 6-month goal from now into January. Take this time to get into therapy, right? Address any issues that would come up in entrepreneurship or building relationships or knowing how to network, right? Because that's a part of my story. I didn't know how to network. I had a business, but it scared me to talk about my business. That's personal development. Invest in your personal development. Equip yourself with the tools so that you know how to properly make money, manage your money, keep it, and multiply it.
Yeah, absolutely. That is so essential. Building up a certain level of confidence for us to be able to have that ability to speak, to share what we have to offer. Because if we don't share what we have to offer, no one will know.
Right.
And so when we speak to the entrepreneurs on who are coming to the show and listening and watching and taking notes, it is so important for them to do the steps and to do the work and take every opportunity to build up their confidence so that they're able to speak to people about their business and to grow their business from that point. I can't tell you how many times I've been to events and there have been business owners who have, vendor tables, and they're just sitting there behind the table.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that to me is a scary place to be.
That
Because
was me.
because if you're behind the table, then, how are people going to know what you're doing and how to come over to your table? So that means that we've got to plan and be prepared to have support, the necessary support for that event, so that we can go out and talk to people and introduce them to and invite them over to our table so that they can come and get the information or, sign up for the services or purchase the products that we have available. And that's so important. So you became an empowerment coach. The first business you said you started was a transportation company.
Yes, that was in 2016. I left the Department of Ed and I started very small. At the time, my oldest son was in elementary school. I was very familiar with the parents there, the administrative staff, and they had something that I always wanted to do. And they had like this large email list with all that they send out email blasts to the parents. So I said, okay, I'm going to start here because they know me, and if they don't trust me, then maybe this is not the route for me, right?
Yeah.
And so I made up a flyer. We didn't have a van at that time. I forgot what I had. We started with the carpooling service first, and I made up a flyer and I sent out the email blast. For 2 weeks, we didn't get a response, and I'm like, crap, what did I do?
Yeah.
What did I do? I don't have a savings. What did I do?
Oh, wow.
The next
That's the place to be. There was no savings either.
Right.
Yeah.
And so the next week we got a flood of emails, and more than, here's another thing, ladies, entrepreneurs, we could not meet the demand.
Oh, wow.
So many.
So first you had a drought, and then you had a deluge. So there was nobody calling for a couple of weeks, and you get scared and you're like, oh God, what did I do? And then all of a sudden the floodgates open, and then now you're not able to handle the demand for your business. So what did you guys do at that point?
So we took the kids that we can take. We worked. We saw how. I was like, okay, let me see how this works. Let me put together a system. I learned that a lot of the children lived outside of the district, right? So good thing was there is a need. There is a big need, right? Again, we'll talk about personal development. Had I equipped myself with the tools and did the research, right, I would have been prepared and I would have knew what I was getting myself into. And so this was in August, right? And October, we started renting a van because we said we can't do the carpooling thing. We're getting like a flood of emails saying, "Hey, we need transportation." And for the very reason that I started it was because I had two young children at the time. I think my son was in third grade, and I had a newborn. And I'm like, I lived in the north side of Williamsburg. I had to travel. We had to get up 5 o'clock in the morning, 4 o'clock in the morning, travel all the way on the other side to Bedford-Stuyvesant, drop the kids off. It was like I couldn't drop my kids to school. I couldn't be there for them at these pivotal moments in their lives. My son was starting to struggle in school, and I was drowning. And I said to myself, there has to be other parents like me. What service do I provide to help the community and other mothers or others? Sometimes it's both parents in the household. And so I said, okay, we have to do something. We have to get a van because one, how are we actually serving the community if we can't get at least a hold of half of these people? And two, we're leaving a lot of money on the table, right?
Yeah.
And so we started to rent a van. That was in October. In February, we bought our first 12-passenger van.
Okay.
And then it was great from there. Definitely a lot of mistakes. One of the things that I mentioned in the beginning, and it's going to be a constant theme throughout my interview, personal development. One of the things about unresolved trauma, it doesn't have a preference, right? It'll pop up anytime, anywhere. And one of the things that I noticed was that my unresolved trauma, even things that I didn't realize I was dealing with because they were so suppressed.
Yeah. It's okay.
Phone on do not disturb. I don't know how it came up.
Okay.
But these things started to come up, and it affected how I dealt with my clients, my parents, how I ran my business. And so I want to say 2016, 2016, I think around 2018, that was like my light bulb moment. I started out as a solopreneur. So that means that I was driving the van, dealing with children all day, and then come home and dealing with my own children.
Yeah.
And I sat on my bed and I cried. And I cried because I said that, here I am. I took this leap of faith and I'm an entrepreneur, but I'm still not fulfilled. What is the problem? Or what am I missing? What am I not doing right? And I had to ask myself, okay, who is it that you want to be? Who is it that you're trying to become, and what are you willing to do to get there? Like, really be honest with yourself. Is this something that you really want to do? Who are you at this point in your life in this age?
Yeah.
And I said, okay, who am I? Right? Because even at that point, as an entrepreneur, I didn't know really who I was at that age. So I said, okay, I have to get in therapy. I got in therapy, and I started to invest heavily in my personal development, and that brought about. I started to wonder. I said, "Wow, I want to know. I want to talk to other mothers. I want to talk to other women and see, what are they facing? What are they managing every day? Especially being an entrepreneur. What mental health issues are they managing?" And I just got so invested, so obsessed with the personal development, the advancement of women, and that's where Living Fulfilled Coaching came. In my own wellness journey, I found a love. I think that we are so. You said the word resilient. We are so strong. We're nurturers. We do a lot. We do everything, and we deal with a lot. How do we do that? How is that done, right? How do you manage these things that's going on in your personal life yourself, and you run these businesses, or you have these jobs, or all the other titles that you have? And that's what brought about the Living Fulfilled company, the coaching, just having a natural love for helping women become the best version of themselves. So what I was doing and what I'm actively doing right now.
Absolutely. That's awesome. So you provide resources as well as workshops and personal coaching.
Yes.
Right? Okay. So how can ladies take advantage of your classes and your workshops that you have available?
I can see my information scrolling at the bottom. Definitely, my name is Alisha Smalls across all social media platforms. At this moment of time, I'm super responsive. If you follow me, you click the link in my bio. One, sign up and subscribe to join the community that I'm building. Subscribe to the email list, to the newsletter, and there's also a link there to schedule your free coaching call with me, your hour-long coaching call. I want to talk to you. I want to get to know you. I want to see, if we are a great fit. But I'm actually revamping my website. I want to give out a lot of information. I think that as a coach, one of the things that, or as coaches, one of the things that we miss is that
It's okay.
miss the mental health piece. So one of the things that I provide and I talk with during the consultation is about therapy, right? Because I'm not a therapist. I'm not a coach and a therapist. It's different things.
You're not coming here for any therapy,
right?
Any remedies, any consultations for that. Here is just basic information, and they can take that and be able to take some actions to put a plan together. And so that's what you help them to do with your coaching as well, right?
Right. I heavily suggest it. We have resources. If that's something that you don't want to take advantage of at the time, that is a service that we provide, helping you actually find a therapist, because believe it or not, a lot of people don't know how to go about finding a therapist and actually taking the time to sort out, maybe try a therapist. If you don't like that therapist, it's okay to go to a next one and coaching them through that. So that is one of the resources and services that we provide, because I believe that you need both. This is not a one show. You definitely need both.
Yeah. Well, helping people to understand the difference between therapy and coaching. Therapy is when they're able to go and talk about their problems. They're able to, get it out. So it's talk therapy. They're able to, remember and revisit and do the introspection, the personal evaluation, so that they're able to identify what it is. Therapy helps you to become conscious and aware. Coaching, on the other hand, is where they're able to determine what steps they need to take in order to shift a behavior or change a narrative or create a new understanding and action plan. And so they're able to work. So coaching is where you actually take what you became conscious of, and now you're moving into the process of fixing it.
Right. Yes.
So, yeah.
One of the reasons why the consultation is so long is because I've talked to, and I've came in contact with a lot of women that it's like, I'm ready to do coaching, but I'm not ready to do the work. So we got to go backwards, right? But I don't, it's like, oh, well, we're not a great fit. You should get a therapist and, come back to me when you have a therapist. It's like, no, I want to make sure that you have the right resources. You know how to go about finding a therapist, because the ultimate goal is complete wellness.
Yes.
If you can do both simultaneously, great. I suggest that. But sometimes you need to take that step first, because once you come to me, that means that you're ready to do the work. Mm-hmm. You're ready to do the work. If not, still, I want to assist you. Come on, let's sit down and let's figure out which road we're going to take to get to the best version of ourselves. So that was very important to me to have that service. Even if I'm not working with you directly, I'm still helping you in some shape, form, or fashion.
Absolutely. So I want you to just think for a moment about 3 steps that you can share with these ladies that they can use to get started. What actions can they take in order to start the process, even before they get to you, what they would want to have in place. And, everybody's situation and circumstances are different, but being able to have a conversation is absolutely essential, because if you don't have the conversation, then you won't know how to prepare yourself. What you even need to say, okay, well, this is step 1. Let me make sure that I'm doing what I need to do in order to get ready for step 1. And I'm not ready for step 2, but I can do that. let me get step one done. And then once I get step one done, then I can work on getting to step two. Or maybe you've got step one and step two already done. And so you're on step three, and that's the progression that you want to continue to make. You want to continue to be productive. And so what are those initial three things that you would say our ladies can do in order to be prepared before they come for coaching?
I was going to say therapy, but a lot of people aren't ready for therapy, and that's because therapy is very heavy. You have to be willing and courageous enough to go back to a place, right? Because one thing about therapy is that it's going to take you back to a place. It's going to take you to a place that you didn't know you existed. And it's really hard work. So a lot of the time, some people are not ready for therapy. If you're not ready for therapy, if you have a trusted family member or a friend that you can have that conversation with to kind of identify and be transparent and to be honest, right? We got to be honest about what's going on with us. If we're not honest with anyone else, with ourselves, right? If you're at that point where you have a journal and you can say, okay, I want to make this better. I want to explore this. I want to know why I do this. Yeah, do that. Whatever method helps you, one, identify and be honest about what you want to make better. And I say make better because a lot of the times we think something is wrong with us, or it's something. When I say something that needs to be fixed, that's again, like
that is broken.
That is broken, but that would suggest that, and ladies, change your language, right? So that's why I'm trying to change up the language. It's nothing wrong with you, right? You want to make it better. That has absolutely nothing to do with you loving yourself, coming to a place of worthiness. You just want to make it better, right? And that's okay. So if you're not ready for therapy, I would say the first step is therapy. But if you're not ready for therapy, if you have a trusted friend or a family member or coworker, whoever it is, that you can have an open conversation with and identify the things that you want to make better or you want to heal, those points of healing. If you don't have that person and you are comfortable enough with yourself, because believe it or not, a lot of us, and I was that person, I wasn't even comfortable enough with myself to write these things down, because at one point to even look at them on paper was painful, right? Yeah, right. And so if you don't have that person, but you are comfortable enough to start journaling, writing these things down, and start off with what is the most important thing right now in your life that you want to make better, that you want to heal from, that you want to change. We have so many thoughts, a million thoughts a day. I know that I do, right?
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
We get caught up in one of the issues that I have. I always like to start with myself, because I want you to know that I am you and you are me, right? One of the things that I struggled with was doing too many things at one time, right? And that aggravated my anxiety. It gave me headaches. I can't even think about so many things at one time. So what is that one most important thing that you want to heal from or make better, or change? And you focus on that, identifying it, being honest, and taking accountability.
Yeah.
Right.
And you support the. Oh yeah, accountability is where they come for the coaching for you, because that's different from the therapy. The therapist is there to listen.
Yeah.
And to kind of guide you through that awareness process. But with coaching, that's where you get the accountability and you get reminded of, oh, these are the steps that you need to do. And whether or not you're taking them, did you do this week? You've got homework, you've got an action step to follow through. And so what I have actually on MariMoreLife.com is a journal that these ladies are familiar with, the Mindful Money Moment Journal, with affirmations. And in that journal, they're able to go through the 5 areas of mindset as well as the 5 areas of money management in order to identify, where are you right now? What, and at the top of each one of those pages, there is a thought starter. so that they're able to now, go in and write about, where's my mental,
Yeah.
where are my emotions, what are my triggers, you know, how am I doing physically caring for my health, what is my spiritual life like, and then of course, am I doing the basics of finance, which is just budgeting.
Yeah.
Do I make sure that I have more income than I do expenses? Or am I spending more money than I'm making every week and ending up in debt? And then being able, of course, to transition over to the money management side of that by looking at where they currently exist. And you mentioned some key areas, before you took that leap, you wish you had checked on your credit,
Yeah.
made sure that your credit was in shape so that you can start your business successfully and have the resources that you need to be able to operate first and foremost, but then also to grow. So checking our credit, making sure our cash flow is there, making sure we've got savings, our insurances, as well as the investments that we make so that we can continue to have our money working for us. And on all of those fronts, that is what makes us wealthy women, because we're paying attention to that. We're conscious first, and then we're taking the actions. And so being able to work with an empowerment coach, I'm going to tell y'all, empowerment coaching is such a fabulous thing when you have someone who is on your side, and they're going to tell you about yourself. And you're going to have to sometimes hold your head down. You'll be like, oh, I don't like how this feels, but I know you're telling me the truth.
It's all in love. It's all in love.
It is.
Having a tribe, whoever that tribe consists of, that really wants to see you do well, wants to see you well and be able to enjoy the fruits of your labor. I'm just celebrating 70 pounds down, right? Because that was another area of my life that, even though I had been 4 or 5 years into entrepreneurship, here we go, right? We talk about personal development, but the foundation of wealth is health. Why am I doing all of this if I'm not going to live long enough to see, the fruits of my labor? I have 3 children now. At the time I had 2, but I had 3 children. And as a mother, right, I'm talking to all my mompreneurs every day. I love my children. I love my children. I love my children, but I'm not doing everything that I'm supposed to do to make sure that I see them. I see them grow and graduate high school and college or whatever it is that they want to do, be a grandmother, right? And we all have an expiration date, but I decided that I wasn't going to go over something that I can control.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
absolutely. We're going to extend that date as far as we possibly can.
yeah, so and so it's everything. I want to let the women know that wellness is just not one thing. Mental health or being able to make money. It's everything. It's your mental, like you said, your spiritual, your social, right? Being able to get out there and network and build meaningful relationships and partnerships, right? Is emotional. It's all of those things put together that makes you well and wealthy. Wealthy doesn't start with the money, right? It brings the resource, right? It brings the money so you can have certain time and freedom, but it starts with your mental and your physical, knowing that I need to do this, being able to identify, right? Like we said, identify, be honest, and take accountability. And then, the money will come. It will, trust me, it will definitely come.
So just to review, you got that first step you talked about, becoming aware and journaling, being honest with ourselves, telling the truth to us first. It's so absolutely essential. So step 2 would be what? Can you clarify that for me?
And so 2 would be actually taking action. If you're ready to go to therapy, great. I think that is, I'm pro therapy. If you're not, again, we understand that everybody is somewhere different in their journey and you may not be ready for therapy. Do you have a friend, family member, coworker, someone that you can have that conversation with, right? That we talked about. If you have either or, that's great, to where you can identify. And then and then therapy if you're not ready to go to therapy, because usually that conversation will get you revved up and say, okay,
And you be ready to go through the process. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
right.
And you know, I recently saw a post online. There is a therapist. She's been, you know, a therapist for a number of years, and she was just saying, you know, she's real talk. You know, she was just talking about how she says, you know, there are so many people right now who are seeking therapy and who are in need of therapy. However, the pool of therapists is so limited that there are not enough therapists available. And so that was one thing that she recommended, is what you're talking about, having that conversation with family or friends, someone that we can trust, who will be looking out for our best interests, who can be a confidant, who would not, you know, of course, share the information, but would be able to just listen and to hear us. And if we ask them for feedback, give some feedback. You know, but sometimes we don't need feedback. Sometimes we already know what's going on. We just got to talk our way through it in order to figure out. And we'd be like, oh, wait a minute. It was that. Yeah. And now we identify it and we're able to address it. Yeah. So then your first step is, of course, doing the journaling, being honest with yourself. The second is having that conversation. And your third step would be?
And then my third step would be actually taking action, whether you are going to, and this speaks to, because a lot of women would say, well, I can't pay a coach. I don't have the resources to pay a coach. That friend or that family member, right, that really wants you to do well, that places those positive deposits in your life. If you can follow that, right? I do know that there's a shortage of therapists, because when I transitioned from Brooklyn to Maryland, I was on the wait list for therapy for some months. So I do that. And if you're in that situation, I would take that friend or that family member, if you can, through that journey, and start to build your own tribe, right? As I stated before, this is not a one-woman show, right? I learned that through my healing journey. This took my therapist and my mother and my sister and my mother-in-law and my own coach and business mentors and things of that nature. There's so many other resources out there. If you're one of the women that right now you can't afford to invest in a coach, you know, you've gotten to that point and you can't afford to invest in a coach, that's fine. Start to build your own tribe of like-minded people who are going to place positive deposits in your life, right? And are going to help you up that hill to becoming the best version of yourself. You have some of the same goals. You guys may even be holding hands and taking this journey together. That's okay too.
Yeah.
Right? Start to build your tribe, right? And take advantage of a lot of the free resources that's out there. I know that when I was in New York, if there's anybody in New York that is a budding entrepreneur and starting a business, I brought it up, so I should be able to remember it. There's a lot of free mentorship business mentorship programs that seasoned business owners, they volunteer their time and they will mentor you for free. Take advantage of those resources. Get out there, because once you've gotten to this point, then that means that you're ready to do the work. Get out there, go to some of those events. Don't be afraid to go to some of those events alone. A lot of the relationships and partnerships that I've met, I've been out there by myself. And just, you know, so like I said, if you can't, first step would be therapy. Everybody needs a therapist, right? Everybody doesn't need everybody needs a therapist, but if you're not quite ready for therapy, who is your friend or family member that you can talk to, that you know has your best interests at heart, right? If you don't have that person, and you have it doesn't have to be a journal from Amazon. You have a regular dollar notebook. Start to write down and journal and get those feelings out and identify and be honest with yourself. If you can do all three at the same time, that's great, right?
Yeah. So you gave us 3 really clear steps. So that's journaling, to be honest with ourselves first, and then having the conversation, and then taking action once we've gotten to a point where we are more comfortable with that conversation. And taking action looks like reaching out to a therapist, reaching out to a coach, going out to do, some networking, looking for mentorship, because mentorship can be very therapeutic. When you've got the support of someone who you can put confidence in because they know what they're doing, then that helps to boost your confidence, because now they're going to give you the encouragement that you need. And that's what this show is all about: sharing encouragement, giving education, empowering women to really do the things that they want to do by creating the reality of their dreams. It's about, okay, you've got a thought in your mind, now let's manifest that into our existence. Excuse me.
Yeah. And one more thing that I forgot. When we talk about people that may not have the resources to invest in coaching or going to big conferences or things of that nature, we're in the information age. There's a lot of free information out there, audio books, things that you can do on your own. Take advantage of those things. Like, we're on the internet every day. Prioritize your time and make sure that you at least taking some of that time to invest back into yourself.
Absolutely. So doing the research, and that's absolutely key, I would say, for them to do as they're having those conversations. There would be points that would come up of interest to say, oh, okay, well, what is that? Maybe there's something I need to look up, and being able to do the research will prepare them for taking that action step to get support. But you would know what questions to ask. It's kind of like getting ready to go to the doctors. You've got an issue, a health problem. You're going to write down all your symptoms and stuff so that you make sure you know what to tell the doctor when you get in the office. Sometimes you get nervous, you forget, you're not having that ache today. So, you forget to talk about it, but you want to make sure you write those things down. So when you go, then you've got your list, and you can ask questions about, well, what is the remedy for this, or what is a treatment that can help to support me through this process, getting the healing process. Same thing with therapy and coaching. And I say, even with financial advising, people have to do enough research, be willing, and like you said, be willing to do the work so that they can get that question that they need to have the answer to, know enough to ask a really good question.
Right. Absolutely. Always educate yourself. Like I said, I didn't like school, but I like to learn. I didn't like the traditional style of school, but I learned. And as an entrepreneur, I know a little about a lot.
Yeah.
Know a little about a lot.
That's right. Absolutely. So thank you so much, Alisha, for coming to share with us today your story of resilience, that bold move that you took and leaving your job. That is so fabulous. But recognizing the reality of, okay, that was a bold move, but this is what we can do in order to prepare ourselves better. What are we thinking about in advance? For those ladies who are in a position now where they're thinking about, either leaving their job, or maybe they lost their job during COVID and had to pivot, making that pivot now is absolutely key. And so they can, know we can encourage them so that they know that they can make it as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So thank you again. We're gonna have you again. I'm sure another time. I will be doing some conferences and things, and we would love to have you back. So we'll see you again soon.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me.
It's my pleasure. Absolutely. All right, ladies. So we had a wonderful story time with Alisha, and hearing about how she was able to make the transition from employee to entrepreneur, and the 3 different businesses that she actually runs, including how she started her transportation company and then moving into the coaching and what she's doing now. With that opportunity that you have to reach out to her, feel free to, contact her through Instagram on her DMs, and she would be happy to set up a coaching session with you, or an initial consultation, so that you can find out whether or not you're a good fit and where you are in your journey right now. So, Well Wealthy Women is where we chat with pros and experts about maintaining wellness, growing wealth, and celebrating womanhood. Life is an amazing adventure, And our goal here is to give you a valuable pit stop to refuel, refill, and refresh. So every Wednesday, you can join me live on Facebook or YouTube by searching for Mari Moore Life. Be sure to like our page and subscribe to our channel, and we will see you the next go round. Thank you so much, ladies, for joining me, and have an amazing day. Be well and wealthy.